Particle primary models require a constant influx of ad hoc parameters, dark variables, and statistical patches to force fragmented phenomena into a unified description. The field primary closure architecture offers an alternative. Here, global physical rules are not assembled from the bottom up. They unspool through a strict top-down recursive derivation. This derivation begins at the pre-geometric bedrock, an undifferentiated quaternion field. It contains no independent particles, no pre-given space, and no external backgrounds. Reality initiates through a primordial torsion. The field turns back upon itself, a self-referential act that differentiates the ground into conjugate aspects while maintaining total structural unity. This torsion generates three operational primitives: a formative current that initiates action, an operational address that modulates the stance, and a containing signature that stabilizes the closure. Recursive self-interaction organizes these primitives into a 3x3 torsional lattice. A single backward S traversal through these 9 cells represents one complete breadth of the field, organizing its own internal data. Physics is the structural grammar of this singular field, continuously reorganizing to hold its own history. Within this grammar, motion is redefined. We move away from the idea of smooth travel through a vacuum and toward a system of discrete phase updates. Every traversal of the 3x3 lattice, the time required for the field to organize one full cycle, imposes a finite duration on the system. This sets a maximum speed for how quickly the field can refresh. The constant c defines this maximum rate of formative phase update. Its inverse, c inverse, functions as a minimum temporal impedance. It establishes the smallest temporal thickness capable of sustaining a coherent standing wave. The standard wave equations of quantum mechanics already encode a deterministic dynamics that aligns with this phase-based logic. The continuity equation derived from the Schrödinger equation establishes that field density is steered entirely by the phase gradient. No stochastic or random variables appear in the actual derivation. What we interpret as quantum probability, the Born rule, is a Tier 3 epistemic artifact. Measurement devices are magnitude sensitive. They discard phase information during the interaction. This compression forces a continuous, deterministic field to appear as a scattered statistical projection. Indeterminacy is a mathematical illusion caused by the phase-blind limitations of human observation. Determinism remains intact at the level of the field. Stepping into the vector scalar slice, the model addresses the assumption that metric geometry is an independent propagating entity. General relativity treats space as a fabric that can curve and ripple independently, necessitating a graviton to carry the geometric information. The action functional couples electromagnetic structure to geometry without an Einstein-Hilbert kinetic term. A Lagrange multiplier enforces geometry as a constraint of the source. With no quadratic time derivative for metric perturbations, canonical momentum vanishes. Metric variables possess no independent kinetic life. Direct analysis confirms that the reduced symplectic form has vanishing rank for these variables. This algebraically eliminates the possibility of independent spin-2 motes or gravitons. Metric geometry enters the equation solely as a mathematical constraint. Space responds to stress-energy density, but it does not propagate on its own. Spacetime functions as a constraint-determined impedance response of the underlying vacuum substrate to electromagnetic density. Massive astronomical detection arrays require a source for their data that does not rely on independent geometric waves. Dynamic closure requires total energy conservation to be balanced strictly within the covariant electromagnetic sector. The Gordon optical metric demonstrates metric perturbation is an anisotropic impedance perturbation of the vacuum substrate. The radiative power scaling of a decaying binary system emerges from the multipole expansion of its purely electromagnetic quadrupole moment. This electromagnetic source reproduces the observed frequency chirp and specific transverse polarization modes in full. Large-scale observatories measure the exact physical impedance response of the electromagnetic substrate to massive orbital decay. The model further challenges the idea that mass is an intrinsic, mysterious parameter. Stable, neutral matter binds when the system satisfies criteria for strong ellipticity and variational coercivity. These mathematical conditions prevent the energy of a local configuration from diluting into the vacuum. Mass is the invariant energy of a resonant closure. the dynamic eigenfrequency of a nonlinear electromagnetic configuration held within a stable domain. Stability is maintained by a single recursive stiffness scale. As energy density increases, the substrate's resistance to further compression escalates, creating a structural barrier against infinite concentration. The macroscopic coupling constant, G, is a direct projection of this substrate stiffness and the phase update rate. Its value is derived from first principles. Gravity and mass are universally deterministic, large-scale projections of phase-locked electromagnetic recursion. To confirm global scalability, we apply this recursive grammar to the largest structures in the cosmos. A galaxy operates as a toroidal field with conjugate poles. At the containing pole, magnetic dominance stabilizes plasma into stellar forms. At the opposing formative pole, electric dominance takes over. Formative pressure accelerates, outrunning the field's ability to contain the flow. This toroidal circuit revolves around a central axis of intense magnetic tension. Because our 3D geometry is a slice of a higher-order quaternion ground, this axis manifests as a dimensional trace, where it intersects our reference frame. We observe this trace as a black hole. When formative perturbation exceeds local containing capacity, magnetic reconnection occurs. The tension line snaps, releasing the circuit's total history as cosmic jets. From deterministic phase closure to galactic toroidal dynamics, all physical phenomena are strictly electromagnetic. The vector scalar slice is globally closed. The recursion holds.